This is Me Before Mom, the podcast that helps moms stay connected to themselves while doing the most important job they'll ever have. And I'm your host, Bert Anderson. Hey, this is Bert Anderson, and you are listening to Me Before Mom. Today, I want to talk with you guys about extracurricular activities. Now, I have 3 children, one that's in preschool, and then 2 elementary age kids. So my oldest is getting to be up in that upper elementary age. And I have to be honest, about a year ago, we took a complete break from all extracurricular activities. That's right. We just decided, you know what? We're not doing anything. And it was the best year of my life. I cannot tell you how amazing it was to not have some place to go, some commitment that I had to do. And so I want to talk with you guys about that and how we kind of came to that decision, because I think it's something that as mothers especially, we have to think about, because if we sign our kids up to be in all the things and do all the things, we can totally get lost to that schedule. And then our kids get burnt out. And when they get burnt out, they start yelling at us and everything becomes a battle. And it is just beyond exhausting. And then you're just not your best version of yourself, and you're not being a good mom. And there's just a lot of yelling that happens. At least that's what happens in my house. I don't know. Maybe it doesn't happen in your house. I am a yeller, admittedly. And so sometimes it's necessary to take a break and say no, and say no to things. So this decision that we made to not do extracurriculars came at the end of my daughter's first year in ballet. So she was 5 at the time. She was doing an hour-long ballet class. I think it was on Mondays. She liked it in the beginning, and then I could just see her eyes like glaze over about halfway through the year of ballet. But we had already paid for it all. And I am a really, really big advocate for kids finishing what they start. I don't want my kids to be like, oh, it's getting hard and I'm going to stop. So the longer we went on with ballet, the more fight she put up in going. Every single time it was a battle to get her to go to ballet. And if you know anything about ballet, you have to put their hair in a dumb bun. I'm not a mom who does hair. I was happy. I learned how to braid when I had my 3rd child, who was a girl. And it was one of those things where I was like, okay, now is the time, Bert, to learn how to braid hair. Because you can't be a mom of daughters and not know how to braid hair. So I learned how to braid hair when I think it was 2014 is when I learned how to braid hair. How many of you can actually say, when you learned how to braid? Although I'm sure a lot of you might be able to say that. But I learned in 2014. And so I had to do Kendall, my middle daughter's hair in a bun every single Monday for ballet. And that in and of itself was enough to make me want to go scream. So then on top of that, you have to add in all of the volunteer duties that we had to do for the ballet studio. I get it. It takes a village to run a dance studio, maybe? I don't really know. But it's not like they're rolling in the dough and have, all these extra employees who can do all these work. So you have to do volunteer hours or stuff like that. I kept forgetting about my volunteer hours. And so we would get to the recital and all of a sudden it was like they need somebody to check in all the kids for dress rehearsal. So I had to do that. But that was just one more thing on my plate of an already busy schedule, trying to support the dance studio that everybody else really enjoyed, but my daughter hated it. She hated every single minute of it. So it was like I was giving up all of my time and energy and emotional energy getting her to and from ballet practice and dragging my oldest and my youngest with. And it was like, for what purpose? Because in all honesty, not even, I don't know what the actual statistic is, but not even 1% of kids who participate in an extracurricular activity end up making a profession out of that extracurricular activity. And I'll be honest, growing up, I was a very avid competitive swimmer. I started swimming at the age of 9 and fell in love with the sport. And, I had a few swim coaches who said that, if I worked really hard, they could see me going on to that Olympic gold, making the Olympic team. And then my knees went out on me. I dislocated my knee twice during swim races, and that's a whole other story. I'm anatomically incorrect. But, I spent hours training in the pool, and I didn't make it past high school. And so I kind of, when we made the decision to take a break from extracurricular activities, it was with that mindset that I had, given so much time and energy as a kid to swimming year round, having to have this like constant battle with my daughter to go to ballet. And it was like, what is the point of all this? Why am I forcing my kid to do something she definitely doesn't want to do? But there's, I think as far as extracurricular activities go, if your kid loves something, if they genuinely love something and they become passionate about it, sometimes that happens at a young age. We haven't really experienced that with my kids yet. Both of my daughters are now doing gymnastics and they are still enjoying it. And so my thing is like, if you're enjoying something, if they love it, then we will continue to do it. If they don't like it and as soon as it becomes a battle, I kind of am at the point where I'm like, you know what, then we're just going to be done. And I think that that's okay. And I think that there is sometimes this pressure to have your kid be in all the things. Like I remember talking to friends when my kids were little and their kids were in baseball and they were in hockey and they were in soccer and they were in this and they were in that. And they'd be like, oh, what is your 4-year-old doing? And I'm like, nothing. My 4-year-old's doing nothing. But there was a little part of me that was like, oh my gosh, am I ruining my child because I'm not giving my child the opportunity to be in all the things? And I don't think that you are. I think it's okay. So I don't know. If you are listening to this, chime in on the conversation and let me know what you think about this. If you think that, yes, you should have your kids be in all the things, or if, hey, let's take a little break from extracurricular activities and not having to be someplace at some time, just take a little break from it. So how do you stop? That's the question, isn't it? That is like the major question. So we just kind of sat down as a family when my middle child's ballet recital had happened. When it was all said and done, we sat down as a family and we were like, okay, guys, we think that maybe this next year we are going to take a break from doing extra things at night. What do you guys think about that? My son was in first grade, going into second grade at the time, and Kendall was still in preschool. We held her back. That's a whole other topic. But so we sat down and we were like, what do you guys think about that? And I was so surprised because I thought that it would be met with a little bit of protesting, and they were so excited to not have any place to go. And I'm a firm believer in being open and honest with my kids and communicating with them and kind of letting them feel like they are contributing to family decisions as it pertains to them. And so they really liked it. And it was amazing that year that we took off. There was less fighting. There were times when they said that they were bored. And those were the times that I wanted to gouge my eyes out. So I was like, we did this for you. So you weren't so stressed. But it was really, I guess the way I talk about it right now, I kind of make it sound like I want to go back to it, huh? But no, I think as long as your kids are enjoying whatever it is that you guys are doing as a family and it's not putting too much stress on the family, then I think that it's kind of nice to be able to take a little break from feeling like you have to do all those things that you have to do. And admittedly, I have younger kids. I don't have older children. And, maybe you're listening to this right now and you're like, okay, but my, 8th grader loves doing such and such. Well, then keep your 8th grader doing it. If it's adding to their life and it's not causing stress, I think that there's no reason why you should rock the boat, so to speak. I think it is okay to say no sometimes. And I think that is what I want for you to get from this conversation that we're having, is that I want for you to understand that you can say no. It's not, time is money and money is time. No, money is not time, but time is money. And there is a lot to be said about that and about the family dynamics and emotional energy and how much time we put into extra things when we could just be kids. Let our kids be kids. So let them play and tell you they're bored. And so bored. But, take that time to, just kind of evaluate your own family schedule, whether or not your kids are really enjoying something and really passionate about it. And if they are, then, continue down that path and doing that extracurricular activity. And, I have not found that yet. My children are extremely excellent. They haven't found their one thing that they're like, yes, this is the thing I'm going to do. But there are kids who display exceptional talent at a young age. And I have a friend actually that I'm hoping to get on the podcast to talk with her because she has two very gifted children that she's had to navigate their talents, their gifts and their talents along with their family life and what that looks like. And so I'm hoping to sit down and talk with her about it because, maybe you're listening to this and your kid is really exceptional. That is a whole other parenting hurdle that I have no idea what to do with because I'm not in that stage, but my friend does. So I'm hoping that I can sit down and talk with her and pick her brain a little bit and ask her how she maintains, who she is still and not lose it. So I think the other thing that you need to think about too when it comes to extracurricular activities is, are you doing it, is your child participating in it because they truly love it or because you want them to like it? Me, I love reality TV and I talk about it a lot, but it makes me think of Toddlers and Tiaras, the TLC show, Pageant Moms, where, you have to look at the parents' behavior on that show and think like, is your kid really the one who likes doing this? Or are you the one who wishes that you were a pageant child and a pageant queen? So I think you have to look at that. Like I never did dance. There was a little part of me, here's confession time with Bert, where I kind of wish that I had been a dancer and had done dance class. So when I signed my daughter up for it, it was like, ooh, do you want to do this? Wouldn't this be so fun? And then because I'm excited and I'm her mom, of course she's going to be like, yes, I think this would be great. So I really had to evaluate my own heart and my own intentions for her. And is that something that she enjoyed doing? And in the end, no, it wasn't. It was not. She didn't want to do ballet. That was not her thing. It was too serious. She wanted to be able to talk and play, and ballet is a very regimented practice. And so as much as I wanted to have the beautiful ballerina daughter, because I was not a beautiful ballerina ever, we had to decide that, yeah, we were going to be done. And it was not something that I was going to force her into doing because I was trying to fulfill my own dreams of becoming a beautiful ballerina. So, I think just looking at your kid and knowing them and who they are and really being able to study yourself and your motivations and be real with that and truthful and honest can go a really long way when you're looking at your family's schedule and the extracurricular activities that you're taking part in. I could look at my kids with swimming because I really wanted to make the Olympic team, and I obviously had injuries that prevented that from happening. But there's a part of me that's like, ooh, am I going to have an Olympic swimmer? Is my kid going to fulfill my dream? Maybe. And so far, 2 out of 3 are afraid of water. And clearly that's not going to happen. Not going to happen. There's still time for the third. I say it with a smile. But you know what? She may not like swimming. And that's just something that I have to come to terms with, is the fact that I may not have an Olympic swimmer and I may not fulfill my own dream, but that's not what our kids' jobs. Their job isn't to fulfill our own desires. Our job is to help them find their passion in life, what drives them, what makes them tick, and then help them see it come to fruition. And maybe it's in an extracurricular activity, and maybe it's not. And that is totally fine. So, just be willing to be honest with yourself. Like I always say, you need to be kind. Be kind to yourself. Because Lord knows the world is hard enough on us moms. And our kids can be hard enough on us too. So be kind to yourself and check out your heart. Figure out what's going to work best for your family. That's all we have. Thank you so much for listening. Be sure to connect with me on bertmanderson.com and please visit our website, matriarchdm.com, for all of the show notes and to hear other awesome podcasts.